Hello, I'm Olivia Bailey. In a different role today, I'll actually be doing your feature interview here, and I have the outgoing president of Emory and Henry, President Rosalind Reichard. Roz, thank you for being on the set with me today.
Always love to be here, thank you.
And you just recently, well, I guess not recently, but this year announced your retirement, and this will be your last year here. So we're going to talk a little bit about your experiences here and what's next for you. So the first question I have is, Emory and Henry seems to be a special place. Everyone has a connection here. So for you, what did you expect about Emory and Henry when you came into this position 6 years ago?
Well, one thing that I could tell during the interview process was the tremendous support that the alums have for this place and how much love the students have for this place. So that's something that I really looked forward to, and it really means a great deal to me to be part of a community where folks care so much about each other, and also the connections with the community. My first day on campus I actually spent with the Appalachian Center for Community Service because I was very interested in how they connect with the community, and then went out to the village of Meadowview to get to know some of those folks. So that meant a lot to me, and it certainly came true in terms of those aspects. Again, the love that students and alumni have for the place, and then the connections with the community.
Is there anything that you've experienced over these past few years that you didn't expect? That you came in expecting something and maybe didn't turn out as well as planned, or not exactly how you expected?
Probably more than anything, it really has to do with things external to the institution. Certainly I wasn't thinking that I would be president during such tremendous, challenging economic times, and as you know, fairly soon after I arrived, we had the Great Recession begin, and then working so hard to try to make sure the institution was affordable for students became a big part of what I worked on. So I suspect that would be the biggest thing that kind of shook me up in terms of some of the things that we were trying to accomplish, because reacting to, again, those economic times has made it more difficult than I thought it might be to keep things affordable for our students.
And I guess as you're leaving, there's all the talk about the big projects that have gone on here in your time here. But I guess what would you say is your crowning moment here as president of Emory and Henry College? Well,
I mean, for me, as I've said, I think in every setting it really is promoting student leadership more than anything. And so some of the things that have occurred recently, I think, are examples of that. And you know about those things. Certainly the march that took place last week, and the debates that are going on in the Hermetian Society. So it's really the student leadership that means the most to me. Lots of facilities, lots of programs. Very excited about the fact that we're going to be able to break ground on the Arts Center, because that's something that the college was working on, has been working on for long before I came, and it's been something I've tried so hard to get to the point where we'd have the financing. So once we break ground on that, I'm able to leave that project for the new president, but getting it started means a lot to me. So student leadership and then getting the Arts Center started is really probably biggest moments for me.
And I guess anyone who's a leader knows that you come in with all of these plans, and you know, and you do try and institute some things like that, but they don't go as well as you wanted to. Is there anything, I guess, that's been a struggle for you while you've been here?
Well, I think more than anything it would come back to what I said just a few minutes ago, trying to make sure that we're able to have this college be affordable for students in general. You know how challenging it is to take on loans and to find the money to be able to afford an education. So that is, as I think, where I've struggled the most, trying to do that through, again, difficult economic times. And I'm always sad that I'm not able to help all the students out there that need help. So I think that's been the biggest challenge, and to some extent a disappointment, but I think we've made progress, and I think as the economy improves, that'll become a different picture for folks out there.
And strategically, I know that you came in with a lot of plans here to accomplish in your time as president. Are there any things that you planned for that you didn't get accomplished in your presidency here?
More than anything, again, it would relate back to the economy and trying to raise funds that can support the education. So I wish that we could have been able to garner larger financial support for the institution, but it was difficult to do that, again, in the economic time. So I think that was probably the biggest part of our plans, to expand the endowment. I know we have a very solid endowment. It's around $80 million right now, but I wanted it to grow more than that. And so not being able to get the financial resources to the level I would have liked to get them is probably the biggest challenge that I've had since I've been here.
And as you're leaving, you're entering into retirement. What do you feel like your role on the Emory and Henry campus will be, and with Emory and Henry in the future?
Well, I think I'll be like an alum more than anything. I mean, again, I'm not a graduate of the college, but I will be out there supporting the college, talking about it, certainly providing some financial support as best I can, going to an athletic event occasionally, maybe going to an event on campus. So I think most like what an alum would be, a person who really celebrates the institution and tries to support it as best I can, but certainly stepping back from making decisions and being here on a day-to-day basis.
So going off into retirement, we're going to enter in that realm a little bit. Anyone who knows you and through this conversation knows that you're a planner. So what's the first big plans once you leave here?
Travel, actually. I mean, I really, I love to travel. My husband and I both love to travel. We love especially international travel, but we travel within the U.S. as well. And so we already have a plan for a trip in the summer, and we're planning a trip for later on in the year. We are basically at this point trying to get settled in where we'll be living. We're going to be living at Smith Mountain Lake. We have a home there, but it's been a second home that we've hardly ever been there, so trying to get that set up. So those are the plans that we're involved in right now.
And you just talked about Smith Mountain Lake. You spent a lot of time in North Carolina before this. How did you decide to make that your home after leaving Emory?
Well, I grew up in the mountains of upstate New York, and there are many, many mountain lakes in that region. And I spent a lot of time on those lakes. So I've been looking for a place where a lake would be like the lakes where I grew up. And Smith Mountain Lake is a beautiful lake. And it's also fairly near Greensboro, North Carolina, where I have family. So putting that together, that's what led us to get the place at Smith Mountain Lake. So we're looking forward to a relaxing time at the lake, but not too far from family, being able to see grandkids and being able to interact with folks that we're close to. It means a lot to us.
And I guess just wrapping up here a little bit, you talked about seeing your grandchildren and also talked about some travel, but what are some other plans going to be? What are President Rosalind Reichard's hobbies when she has free time, if that ever occurs?
Well, I mean, I'm always involved in community activities, and so I'm going to be looking to be involved in the church there, looking to be involved in the Rotary there in that community. I love to read, and I also would like to have time to get more exercise. I've always enjoyed, I've been very active in tennis and other sports and have pulled back from that so much. So being able to take walks and be more active physically means a lot to me as well. Maybe I'll just, also be able to jump right in that lake every day and swim, so that'll be good too.
So maybe we are doing the sports interview here. Maybe I missed that. We have an All-American athlete. Well, President Reichard, I know as a student I appreciate the work that you've done here at the college, and I appreciate you for being on the set today and talking to us, and we really do wish you the best of luck in your future endeavors. Well, thank you. It has been a wonderful journey. It means more to me than anyone will ever know to have been president of Emory-Henry, and especially to be able to act with wonderful students like you. Thank you. And thank you for joining me, Olivia Bailey, for this feature interview. Now we'll send it over to an Out and About.